If you think the idea of an hour-long conceptual metal album about slug warfare sounds too stupid to provide great music, then I have some bad news for you, pal. This seems precisely like the kind of silly concept album that drives metal purists up the wall, but what can you do about that? It's ridiculous that Sludge's album here is genuinely really good, and not some gimmicky joke that tires out from its quirky idea within the first few tracks. This album stays menacing and convincing all the way through, from the proggy and dizzying guitar lines on Crop Killer that left me breathless and in need of a paper bag, to the more traditionally sludgy Salt Thrower with nasty cathartic riffs so meaty I would break my jaw trying to sink my teeth into them. It's amazing the way that said track ramps up the tempo halfway through and becomes a frantic scamper for survival. I mean, the track is titled Salt Thrower. I only imagine that would be a real shame from the perspective of a slug. Also notable that its lyrics reference the OG Ozymandias, whose great power crumbled against the eternal dominance of time. Spotted that reference and thought I'd point it out. Not exactly the hardest reference to point out either, but you know, let me have this one, please. The track War Squid sounds to me like a march, and it acts as a fairly stable and controlled, but intimidating nonetheless, opening track. There is a moment where the narrator growls into the microphone, which is a commentary idea that would certainly make the beach volleyball at the Commonwealth Games more interesting.
Feel the blessing, touch the unbreaker.
Theatrical with choral vocals and faint sequined strings hanging in the background, indeed, but it is actually somewhat brutal. The thing is that Sludge go hard and have as much fun as they want to. The lyrics genuinely do wheelbarrow in a lot of details to the slug war story, and to be honest, it's absolutely mental. I'm not the kind of person to want to skim over lyrics just because they have big words. Aesop rock fan I am, but my word, sometimes you just read these things and feel as if you've just been trapped in the most entertainingly verbose fantasy war novel of all time. And with a soundtrack provided for you, it is more or less that, and it's hard for me not to enjoy them when an album is genuinely extremely well produced and technically proficient, and just an absolute blast. Considering the album finishes with the blast beat peppered Limo Vincit Omnia, I'm driven to believe this album is actually incredibly versatile with how many styles of metal it pays homage to, be it black metal, sludge metal, thrash metal, progressive metal. There's a big soup. And that soup is for slugs. What am I saying? I don't know, it's madness. For this album I am inclined to award a meaty 7 out of 10, and one that wriggles hesitantly on the bathroom floor preceded by a slimy trail leading up to the doorway.